Somebody in my comments told me a story recently. Her father had burial insurance. The family called to verify the policy. Everything checked out, and they were able to put him to rest. On the surface, that's exactly how it's supposed to work, and I'm glad it went that way for her family. But I want to be honest with you about something. The moment that phone call happened, the moment anyone at that funeral home learned exactly how much coverage was available, the risk I'm about to describe was already active. Whether or not her family ever saw it, whether or not anything ever felt wrong, a smooth experience doesn't mean the number wasn't used. It just means you never got to see the bill that would have existed if it hadn't been. That's what almost nobody warns you about. And it's why I want to walk you through three things. Why some funeral homes push you for money up front before they've even started. What actually happens the moment they know your exact coverage amount. And what you sign away when you hand that policy over to them. None of this means every funeral home is out to get you. Most of the people running them are decent and doing an honest job. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Verification alone and assignment of benefits are both at minimum not ideal. One just hides the cost better than the other. Your life insurance company is not paying that funeral home today, and they know it, and that's exactly why they're about to ask you for money. A funeral home has to get paid. That's fair. They're running a business, and they have real costs the day they start working. But here's their problem. Your life insurance company isn't paying out today. Standard practice in most states is 30 to 60 days once the paperwork is complete. But depending on the state and the situation, insurance companies can be allowed to take considerably longer, up to 6 months in some cases. And here's something worth knowing, not as an accusation, just as a fact. The longer that money sits with the insurance company, the longer they get to hold it and put it to work. Some states require them to eventually pay interest to your family if a claim runs long enough, but that required rate is usually lower than what the company earns, investing the money in the meantime. So there's no real rush on their end. So the funeral home is looking at weeks, maybe months, before they see a dollar from that policy. That's why so many funeral homes ask for a down payment. They'll often say, we can't start until we have some money in hand, because who knows how long the insurance company will take. It's not entirely untrue that uncertainty is real. But notice what's happening. The very same uncertainty that benefits the insurance company has become the funeral home's bargaining chip to get cash from your family up front. And I want to be clear about something, because it matters. What I just described isn't illegal. There's no law against using a payment delay as the reason to ask for money up front. It's not illegal. It's just unethical.
The moment a funeral home learns your exact number, something changes, even if you never see it happen. Here's what I mean, and I want to go back to that story from my comments for a second. To ask for a down payment or to talk a family through their options, a funeral home usually needs to know what coverage is actually available. 10,000? That's exactly what happened in that verification call. And it's exactly the moment where this starts, smooth or not. Because once a funeral home knows that number, something shifts. For a funeral home that operates this way, that figure stops being information and starts being a target. Not every funeral home does this on purpose. Some of it isn't even conscious. But if they know what's available, the options they get walked toward tend to add up suspiciously close to that number. Not more, not less. Right up to the edge of what's there. Here's why that matters even when nothing feels wrong. If a family never gets an itemized price list, never asks what the same funeral would cost somewhere else, they have no way of knowing whether the bill they were handed was priced based on the service or priced based on the number the funeral home already had in hand. 9 times out of 10, a smooth experience just means nobody ever checked. The transaction can go through without a single red flag and still have been shaped entirely by that number. That's why I don't consider verification alone to be the safe version of this. It's the quiet version. Be careful about exactly how and when that number gets shared. Because the moment it is, whether or not you ever see the consequence, the door is already open. Share it carefully, or don't share it at all.
Some funeral homes take up to 25% of your entire policy before they light a single candle. Let me do that math with you, because it's worse than most people realize. Some funeral homes will ask the family to sign an assignment of benefits. Instead of the insurance money going to your family, it goes directly to the funeral home, and they bill the insurance company straight from the policy. Here's the part almost nobody tells you. Some funeral homes charge an assignment fee, and it can run up to 25% of the policy. Not 25% of the funeral cost. 25% of the entire policy, off the top. Do the math with me. A $10,000 policy, $2,500 gone before the funeral even starts. A $20,000 policy, $5,000 gone on paperwork. And once you sign that assignment, the funeral home has more than a promise to be paid later. They have a secured financial instrument, a guaranteed claim against an insurance company. Any bank will lend against that. If that funeral home needs cash flow, your signature just became collateral, regardless of how your service goes. Now put all three things together. A down payment up front, because they didn't want to wait. An assignment fee once they know your number. Then the actual funeral costs on top of that. What's left over for your family, if anything, could be almost nothing, especially if they were relying on this money for more than just the funeral. Assignment of benefits isn't automatically a scam, and plenty of honest funeral homes use it responsibly, without an oversized fee attached. But you need to know this exists before you sign anything. Here's the full question test that protects your family before you sign anything at that funeral home. Verify the policy through the insurance company directly, not through the funeral home relaying numbers back and forth. If they ask for a down payment, ask exactly what it's for and get it in writing. If they ask you to sign an assignment of benefits, ask what happens if the final bill comes in under the coverage amount. A straight answer is a good sign. Hesitation is not. Get the itemized price list before any conversation about payment. And if you can, have someone who isn't emotionally raw at that moment handle the paperwork. Most funeral homes are staffed by decent people doing a hard job, but most isn't all. And this pattern is common enough that I'd be doing you a disservice if I didn't say something. You earned that coverage to protect your family, not to become a target number for someone else's invoice. Informed families can't be taken advantage of. If this helped, hit like and subscribe for more. Links in the description if you want to talk it through. I'm Will. I'll see you in the next one.